Hi, Chair Powell. Looking at the summary of economic projections, you all have inflation coming down over the course of the year to 4.3%. And then you also have rates going up to what appears to still be below roughly what would be estimated to be the neutral rate, although I know that's a little bit uncertain. So I was just wondering, how much of inflation coming down do you see as actually being as a result of the Fed itself raising rates? And then also, if I could just ask, given that Sarah Bloom Raskin withdrew her nomination, what do you expect to do with the regulatory portfolio? Do you expect to assign a governor in charge of that?
Okay. So sorry, tell me again your first question.
My first question is, how much do you expect inflation to come down as a
Okay.
direct result of the Fed's actions?
Okay, so part of inflation coming down at the very beginning is clearly to do with factors other than our policy, and those would include potentially the supply chains getting a little bit better. Certainly base effects. You're lapping, as you know, when you look at a 12-month trailing window, you're lapping very high inflation in March, April, May, June of last year. So there should be some effects from that in the 12-month picture. Really what we're looking for, though, is month-by-month inflation coming down. And so it's really it's all the things we've been talking about, that really haven't helped much, including the shift away from goods and back to services, including supply chains getting better, including labor force participation, all those things that have been sticky and not happening. But a big part of it is the base effects I mentioned as well. I think monetary policy starts to bite on inflation and on growth with a lag, of course. And so you would see that more in 23 and 24. But also remember, we started talking about rate increases last year. For some months now, financial conditions have already incorporated a significant number of rate increases. So it doesn't start today. In effect, the moves are already priced into the market for a few months now. So the clock is running on that, and I think some of that will be seen in the second half of the year as well. And on the regulatory portfolio, I would just say this: we have an obligation to carry out under the law, in supervision and regulation, and we're doing that. That's what we're doing. The committee is not active, so what's happening is things are coming to the full board, and we're voting on them. We're getting our business done. We got the stress tests done. We've looked at a number of proposals for mergers and things like that. So we're working ahead. Of course, we don't have a vice chair for supervision, as you mentioned, but we're making do with the situation we have, and a good number of things have come straight to the board for approval.